President Trump plans to sign an executive order later this afternoon, trying to dismantle what's left of the Department of Education. Education reporter Doug Williams joins us now with what this would mean and wouldn't mean for the department.
Cindy, some executive orders change or enact something almost immediately, and some don't have that authority and are more meant to start a process. The one that President Trump plans to sign later this afternoon will be the latter. You'd be forgiven for thinking that the president signing an executive order to dismantle a government agency means, well, that the agency will be dismantled. But it's not that easy for President Trump and the Department of Education. Congress enacted the Department of Education in 1979, meaning only Congress can dismantle it. To give you an idea of how challenging that would be, 60 Republicans in the House joined Democrats in voting against closing the DOE back in 2023. So what does the president have the authority to do? Attorney and education law author Derek Black.
Congress has already thought about this in advance, and it has specifically given the executive the power to do one specific thing, which is to restructure and to reassign within the department.
Education Secretary Linda McMahon has already done much more than that, laying off half the department's staff, which is why it's the subject of a lawsuit from New York AG Letitia James and Democratic attorneys general across the country. President Trump and Republican lawmakers have often blamed the department for high costs, low testing scores, and left-leaning ideologies. But in a SiriusXM appearance, Secretary McMahon made a point that many have made in opposition to that.
The Department of Education doesn't educate anyone. It doesn't hire teachers. It doesn't establish curriculum. It doesn't hire school boards or superintendents. It really is to help provide funding.
Isn't the secretary making the same argument that you and other educators have made, but for keeping the Department of Education?
I think so. This idea of moving control back to the states is really just a head fake to try to convince us that the federal government is responsible for our schools' failures, when in fact it is each individual state and district that really needs to up their game.
We still don't know what will happen to the funding for things like school lunches and services for low-income and special needs students. In a recent survey of 1,000 teachers across the country by Educators for Excellence, 92% of teachers said they'd oppose any cuts. Cindy?
All right, Doug, thank you very much.
Of course.